What's going on, guys? It's Will. So today we're going to be going over BigBear.AI stock, the company that's maybe Big Brother, the company that's being considered as having all of the connections. I've actually seen some crazy conspiracies recently from people that are saying, Will, how could you cover this company? It's obviously part of the big agenda from the New World Order or whatever. Anyway, we're going to get into this company. Okay, let's get into it. While our portfolio managed to stay up 0.25%, our position in BigBear.AI is down about $490 there, as you can see. That's a dip that it looks like, oh, like I don't even know, like that's not something I'm proud of. We have a positive portfolio the past month, but this has got to be one of our least favorite trades that we've made. But as you can see, BigBear.AI has really kept this consistent trend, starting from $1. We started covering it back here in November under $2. It's been trending upwards. You can see this kind of consistent momentum. It's interesting because now this pattern's starting to develop that it's using it possibly as a support. We'll see if it acts as a support. It did kind of like go sideways. It didn't recover, but it did kind of go sideways after hours. And we'll see what happens at market open on Monday. And when we look at BigBear.AI, I'm going to cover it. I've been like, sometimes we cover it once a week. Sometimes we cover it 5, 10 times a week. I plan to cover it next week, but I saw some comments that were like, you're not doing enough BigBear.AI. And then when I'm doing a lot of BigBear.AI, people are like, you're doing a lot of BigBear.AI, but what about Quantum or what's going on with Tesla stock or whatever? So I'm covering it now, but just know, like, I want to give you guys the best information. Sometimes these stocks don't have a lot of news. And so we have a little bit of news to go over today and something that's a little contradictory. That's a take. It's a little bit of a wild take that I will tell you. And that is, and before we even get there, actually, I can see this support here and this resistance that I just caught before. So you see this resistance, support right there, support right there. And so it's kind of consolidating. And we'll see. I think this is a likely bounce. RSI MACD on the oversold side looking more like a buy. But again, like you could have said that over here when it continued down. So we're going to have to see if this overall uptrend holds and if it's still in a kind of hyper bullish territory. Like the overall steady bullish would be down to $4.50 somewhere here. To continue this trend, it broke way out of that trend to $10.50, and now it's back down to 680. I mean, it could hold that 680, but if it doesn't hold that 680, you guys see what the next level is. It's down here around $5, which would be a significant drop. So, it's got some risk to it. I don't like that it's just downtrending. We'll see if it holds this pattern. Definitely will be trading it at market open. Anyway, the thing about BigBear, they recently got this contract, and maybe this is timed ahead of like their earnings. They apparently, one of the things that I saw that they said about earnings is saying the earnings will speak for themselves. That sounds interesting. It's like, oh, they're going to speak for themselves. The earnings, they're going to speak for themselves. We don't know if they're going to be positive or negative. Some indication might say that it's going to be positive. That took a while to load. We know that they have partnerships with the Pentagon. We know they're with Department of Defense. We know that they have that big Army contract. What is it, 160 million? And then we know that they got this new CEO over here, Kevin McAleenan, who has a lot of border security stuff. Okay, that was a really bad edification of Mr. McAleenan, but basically he serves as BigBear's president and CEO. He's got deep government and business experience working with the U.S. national security agencies, including acting secretary of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security during the first Trump administration before founding Pangiam, a company that was bought by BigBear. This is a track record that shows that he was commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, where he focused on counterterrorism, border security, and more. And you can see, so those Department of Defense contracts, Homeland Security, those are things that are definitely going to, that puts them in these positions where they are a government potential AI security for the government. We know that they're an international airport, Denver International Airport, Heathrow, where they scan the face and you just walk through security. Personally, I've experienced it. It's a little bit scary, but it's also like, oh, that was awesome. I just got to walk through security. I like that. Anyway, the top thing that I'm looking at as potentially bad for Big Bear, aside from let's see if their numbers heat up, let's see if their like revenue kicks in, because um their financials actually, I don't know if you guys saw Big Bear stock financials that we've searched before. Their net income's negative 12 million on that quarter. That's down 400% year over year. It improved a little bit in some of the subsequent quarters, but look at that. It's still down year over year net income negative. So you don't like to see a negative net income of 12 million a quarter. I want to see them get some more contracts, see that heat up. They're being compared to Palantir. Here's the thing. I have a concern, and this is what I was going to say about Big Bear. It seemed like they're trying to keep their stock afloat. On the technical side right here, it's like this has to bounce if it's going to keep this continuation, and then it started selling off big like the rest of the market. And you say, what news did they come out with, Will, that was supposed to maybe keep their stock in the positive? And yes, most companies do think about timing their news articles. It's like very common. You could even see it with potentially with QBTS D-Wave. They have their big Qubits conference in Scottsdale, Arizona, which we'll be at 3 days after they report earnings. So is that a coincidence? Maybe not. I don't know. I think they're watching their stock. This is something. This just came out. Point of sale payment leader SoftPoint selects BigBear.AI for facial recognition matching technology in a payment transactions. So this is a commercial deal. And you can see they're providing clients with the most advanced secure facial recognition matching solutions available. So they're going down some of that route with their software. Okay. They don't say it's the exact same software. Otherwise, they would say it is Observe, which is the name of the software that's inside TSA, for example. But the reason that I bring this up and why I'm a little bit like, is because if they're going to be the leader in government and defense, let's say they're a leader, we have to now go do research on SoftPoint and see what this company looks like. And if you're a government, on-demand government, which they just got a contract, 10-year contract, the IDIQ contract, that basically puts them as a first-hand, on-demand, ready to service the government type of contract. If they're going and getting these other partnerships with commercial companies, so let's take a look at SoftPoint that I haven't quite heard of. And that means that you could be exposing the company to potential like commercial threats, or like it's a security risk. Because if they're working with other commercial companies, this is in Scottsdale, Arizona, do you think the government's more likely to work with a company that's like solely working with the government, focused on government, or a company that's working with the government and then also occasionally working with these commercial agencies? Because then now the government has to say, like, what are those commercial agencies? What are those partners? Are any of those companies, let's say, related to China? Are any of them related to Russia? And is there a security threat knowing that they might be using similar software, the same software that you're providing to us, you're providing to this other commercial companies? What other commercial companies? Now you got a company, and it's going to be like that with a lot of companies that are trying to expand into other markets. But it could potentially limit them as a primary selection from the government if the government sees them working with a lot of other commercial. So it's like, it's good on one hand, and some people would say, well, that's like what Palantir, like they work with Boston Hospital and they're also working with the US, and so it's not a big deal. Will, hey, look, we're trying to consider like when they need contracts, because obviously their revenue isn't hitting hard enough until we see what this looks like in the near term with their earnings. Like they get some Department of Defense contracts, they got the Army contract. Here's a contract that is more of like a partnership. It's a Department of Defense contract that I don't see the actual number. I don't see how much money. It says what the contract involves. Okay, but I don't see a number. So that's cool. Why don't they put a number? Is it because it's very small, just a couple 100,000? Is it because it's so big and they can't share it? No, they should be able to share it. So it's like I would like to see bigger contracts. We haven't seen any contracts that are like, oh wow, $1 billion contract or anything like that. Nothing close. The biggest is that Army, I believe, for 160 million, and that's over the course of a couple years. And so with this company that they just partnered with, SoftPoint, it's a payment solution integration. They integrate with like QuickBooks or Oracle or what have you. Okay. And they're like a POS system, and it's got facial recognition. They're working with them. Okay, maybe that is a move that could maybe not be seen bad, as you can see Stripe there. And then some of their clients include these companies like Applebee's, Perkins, Starbucks. And now you got, so basically what I'm saying is now we got to go look at SoftPoint, and we got to say where are they based, what is their thing, they're in Arizona. Then we got to say what about their clients, and this is the type of vetting that a company will do, or that the government will have to do if they protect their security. And so I just think like maybe it's fine. It's just like another commercial company. But at the same time, you have to look at it from a perspective of what does this pose to them being seen as a non-risky contact that the government would select to handle very sensitive data related to like the Pentagon or the security, border patrol security, and those analytics. Though that starts to get into Secretary of Defense, we're talking about national security. And so it's good. They got to expand. Maybe they just need the cash. I get it. Maybe that could be it. Or maybe it was just, hey, this seems like a very solid client. It's a very easy one where they're totally limited on security risk, and and we can work with this client, provide value. And that's the only reason I bring it up too, is like that could be the case as well. And it could just be good. They're just adding contracts. But that's something I see with Big Bear right now. No indication of a reversal, but there's things that would show right now that this would be where it would bounce. If it doesn't, we're most likely exiting this short-term position. We have a longer-term position around $2.80 price point that we got somewhere back here. And so that's good. But the shorter-term trades, this one, again, not going according to plan. I'm not saying this stuff that's a negative light in Big Bear. I like the company's trajectory and where they're going. And I think also the positives for Big Bear is that they are getting a lot more exposure and they are seeing new contracts come in. It's just the size of those contracts. They need to be bigger, especially if we're going to see some of these revenues start to catch up. Net income negative 125 million in that quarter in March. And so it's all like, it's pretty negative here on this, and I want to see it improve. Got to see that go up. They're getting more employees. Like, it seems like they should be growing, and we'll see how it plays into it. So that's going to be it for this one. I'm going to show you guys what this looks like at market open, entry and exit on this position, if we add to our position, if we exit. But nevertheless, if you guys want to be there, it's a second link. If any opportunities present themselves, you could be there at market open, watch my entries, watch my exits in StockMate. And again, it's the second link down below. We have a super awesome sale there for a limited time. If you'd like to take a look, it's that second link. Appreciate you all. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.